Moments ago, both teams in the NWSL recognized those who tragically lost their lives during Saturday's event in Buffalo. Our hearts go out to the victims and their loved ones during this incredibly difficult time. Hello once again, everybody, and welcome to Providence Park as we get set for kickoff. It is the Portland Thorns and the Washington Spirit to wrap up this Wednesday evening here of NWSL action, and a dandy we have here today. Portland 1-0-1 this year, 4 points, entered play today, tied for third in the NWSL standings. Washington Spirit on the other side, 1-1-0, losing at Audi Field for the first time since 2018 with a 1-0 setback to Angel City FC on May 15th. For this Portland crew, they look to join the Utah Royals as the only team in NWSL history with 3 consecutive shutouts to begin the season. And it should be an enjoyable one to watch. Come in, stay a while. Hope that you can hang out with us here on Twitch for the NWSL action between the Portland Thorns and the Washington Spirit. I'm Michael Watring with our great crew bringing you the coverage here today. Becky Sauerbrunn back in action for Portland, and we are ready to lock and load. Washington in the all-white uniforms going right to left. Portland on the other side in the black uniforms going left to right for this matchup. Our referee is Brad Jensen, and we are ready to roll here from Providence Park, one of the toughest places to play in all of American soccer. And here we go from Providence Park. Starting lineups for this one, Portland working with the 3-5-2 formation. Bella Bixby in net for this matchup. Hubley, Menges, and Sauerbrunn along the back. In the midfield, it'll be Cuica, Sugita, Coffey, Sinclair, and Klingenberg. And up top, Rodriguez and Smith for Portland in that 3-5-2. For Washington on the other side, they counter with a 4-2-3-1. Aubrey Kingsbury is the starter in net. Along the back, it'll be Bigelski, Staub, Sonnet, Helferty. In the midfield, Rodder and Brooks. Sanchez, Feist, and Rodman up top with Ashley Hatch, the top portion of the 4-2-3-1 for this matchup. Great to have you with us for today's contest. There's Klingenberg, 16 career assists now for Portland, as she did so against Kansas City earlier this season. Portland coming off of a draw with OL Reign. That was on Friday night. Washington has never won here. 6 wins, 4 draws for Portland against this Washington crew. Spirit with the ball in the back. Always difficult to tread through this Portland unit. Klingenberg comes away with it. Chips it forward looking for Sinclair. And it has to be cleared away off the back line by Emily Sonnet. Quick throw comes to Sinclair, the 39-year-old. The ball works around and it's quickly taken right back. Sam Coffey comes to step up and grab it. Nearly an interception at the midfield. Advantage played here for Washington. Quickly taken off of the ball after a decent run. Trying to split a couple double team was Sophia Smith. Instead it comes to Cuica. Back through the midfield, picked up by Sam Coffey. Klingenberg. Played back for Sauerbrunn. One of her 4 career goals have come against the Spirit. Menges. Wide, Klingenberg has to play it back in for Sauerbrunn. Given right back as Ashley Hatch couldn't hold on to it. Or check that, that's Bailey Feist rather. Sinclair, 3rd all-time in NWSL history in goals. And now a charge mounting here. Right-footed attempt from Smith is blocked. She gets it right back. Smith looked to play Sinclair along instead. Washington does well. But Portland providing early pressure. Rodriguez to the left sideline. Klingenberg with decisions to make. Klingenberg chipping it in. Sonnet has to answer it. And it goes out for a corner. Excellent early intensity from Portland. The Thorns with 4 consecutive shutouts. They've gone 360 minutes without conceding. Klingenberg to take the corner. She strikes it with the right foot. Middle of the box, flicked down by Rodriguez. Sugita, the Thorn player, after it. Instead, Washington able to sprint away from the 18-yard box. Always such pressure from Portland. They have not allowed a goal in the run of play in any of the last 6 matches. The last goal that they allowed in the regular season came on a penalty when OL Reign struck on October 13th. Houston was the last team to score a goal in the run of play. That was on October 6th. Portland with the throw. Pushed into the air. Watching it go out of play is Aubrey Kingsbury, 2019 NWSL Goalkeeper of the Year. A 30-year-old who grew up in Cincinnati, Ohio. Well, there's only been 3 times in which Washington has ever beaten Portland in all competitions. This matchup number 23. Coffey sends this ball along into the box. Some indecisiveness from Kingsbury. The back line expecting her to come out and grab it. Staub gets taken to the ground. Take another look at this one. Staub looking to stay in front of Sophia Smith. Smith has scored in 4 of her last 7 games for Portland. Always dangerous up top. Washington really having some issues getting the ball out of the defensive half. Portland's pressure suffocating early. Good slide tackle. Came to a white jersey, but goes out of play. Excellent bit of defending there with a good slide. This back line for Portland, experienced, talented, and just absolutely phenomenal all around. Emily Mengris, the one that came up to take charge, the 29-year-old. 8th minute of play here at Providence Park. Rodriguez. Kelly Hubley. Sent out to the wide left side of the field. Coffey. Sugita has it taken off of her feet. Sanchez can't hold on to it. Well, we have an interesting matchup. As I mentioned, Sanchez right there, Ashley Sanchez, as well as Kelly Hubley. So that's Sanchez for Washington, Hubley for Portland. Neither of these teams have lost a match in any of those players' last 11 starts. It's the longest active string in the NWSL. So what gives tonight? Will it be a draw to keep those strings intact, or do one of those 2 players help their teams to a victory to extend the streak and take it over in solo fashion? Tenth minute. Chasing after it was Feist. As the ball goes into the seats for a throw. Menges stepping up to it. 3-time NWSL second 11 selection. Ball comes into the middle. Slide tackle, and it's last touched by Sonnet. She certainly thought that it was last touch by Klingenberg, and those 2 exchanged perhaps a little bit of words after the fact. Chipped ball over to the left sideline. Rodman. Sanchez. Sends it to the middle of the field. Bigelski. Rodman will try to get back to it. Trinity Rodman sweeps it in, and Bella Bixby picks it up. Bixby, a couple minutes away from setting the club record for consecutive scoreless minutes. Needed 12 entering the night to hit that mark. Throw coming here from Portland. Portland has only lost twice in its last 13 regular season home matchups. Had 7 shutouts in that stretch. Rodder trying to find Rodman instead. It gets deflected, but Washington's still on the ball. Sinclair sends Smith along. Sophia Smith, 1-on-2, and Sonnet comes up with it to take it away. Pass gets deflected. Given right back, though. Like Portland might have had some options there. Instead, a foul committed. Washington is trying to do something that it's only done once in its club history, and that's win its first road match of the season. Bigelski with a good run. That ultimately comes to an end. The only time that it did so was 2016, a 2-1 win against Gotham. Other than that, they've never won their first road match of the season. Angus clears. Bigelski skies it to the middle of the box. Sanchez the target of that header. Bigelski again. Hatch sends Bigelski along. Swept through the box. Sanchez a header. Still alive here. Helferty puts a shot on, and it's cleaned up by Bixby. Well, we can officially log Bella Bixby in the lore of Portland keepers, as she has now gone 373 plus minutes without conceding a goal, longest consecutive string in club history. As she cleans up that shot from Helferty from distance. Sauerbrunn gets ahead to it. Rodman, though, intercepts. Rodman passes it forward. Feist. Gives it right back to Trinity Rodman, who sweeps it in. Sanchez, the target. It's headed out wide. Good pressure here from Washington. After Portland controlled much of the opening possession. Now it forces Sonnet to retreat all the way back towards midfield. Back into her own half. 15th minute here at Providence Park. Washington and Portland squaring off for the 12th time in the regular season. Spirit have never beaten Portland in the regular season in any of the matchups. Michael Watring with you. Great to have you along for the ride for this matchup. Goes out for a corner kick here. Washington does a nice job of handling a little bit of the early flurry. And a corner kick coming up that Sam Staub will take. The 2020 Team Defender of the Year, now in her 4th season with the Spirit. There's a ball low into the box. Sonnet was the first person trying to get to it. Instead, it's headed out, and a chance for a counter. Smith just gets the touch slightly past her foot and can't hold it. Sent towards the box, popped into the air by Menges. Portland will be able to backtrack. Portland in a stretch right now where they play 4 consecutive matches at home. It certainly feels like the advantage is right now on the Thorns. With the Dash coming up next to complete that 4-game homestand. Amber Brooks comes to get it. Now skies it along, but right into the head of Becky Sauerbrunn. Good slide tackle and perhaps a chance here as Washington gets numbers forward. Rodman picks out Begelski. Begelski will get her team another corner kick with a good ball pinging towards the left corner. The Spirit that won the championship a year ago, and because of that, they have had a busy last several months with the celebration, the trip to the White House. Here in the 18th minute, looking to take the lead. Corner kick from Staub in. There's a header in the box, but it's just wide and cleared out by Portland. I'm not sure inside of the box that Feist got a piece of it or not, but she was certainly the player that was hustling over in that direction. You take another look at it here from Staub. There's Feist. I think it actually does make a little bit of contact with her head, but certainly not enough to direct it on frame. Against this stingy Portland club that has yet to concede this season. Bodies collide and a foul will be whistled that will give a free kick here to the Thorns. Excluding the forfeit last season, this is the first time that the Thorns have hosted Washington in almost 3 years. Take another look at this one. In the middle of the area, Sinclair running in to Sonnet. And the third all-time leading goal scorer in NWSL history with 55. And the all-time leading international goal scorer, regardless of gender. Is back up to her feet and ready to lead the charge. Take a look at that group right there. Menges, 9th season in Portland. Sauerbrunn, 14th professional career, over 200 caps for the U.S. women's national team. And Hubley, who's in her 6th year in Portland. That's a big reason why scoring goals against this Thorns team is almost impossible to come by. Washington trying to have its say at that, however. Here in the 20th minute of a scoreless affair so far. Bodies bump into each other. Rodman trying to get it. Now it goes long, and Sonnet has to clear it out. Sophia Smith providing the pressure. The #1 overall pick a couple of years ago. There's Becky Sauerbrunn, 4-time NWSL Defender of the Year. Sinclair didn't quite get it far enough for Klingenberg, who does get the slide tackle right. For a couple high arcing passes, elude the defenders. Coffee. Sugita. Nearly not enough on that pass. Instead, Rocky Rodriguez. She's got some space. Flung out towards the sideline. Sonnet will wait for Klingenberg. Just didn't get enough on it. Rodriguez was heading right towards the ball, but not enough to get it over there. A lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of experience for both sides. A lot of continuity between these teams as well. Not a lot of turnover, at least comparatively speaking, to some of the other teams around the NWSL this year. And when we spoke to Chris Ward the other day, he mentioned the fact that, you know, despite some injuries to some of the teams, or to some of the players on his team, it'll be very interesting to see how he goes about the business against Regan Wilkinson, who's in her first season here in Portland after a couple different stints under national teams in England and Canada. The biggest question for Ward and the Spirit, where when they're attacking, can they make sure that the back line will get pulled around and out? And that could lead for some space and some opportunities for them to take advantage. 23rd minute so far, and we've only seen 5 total shots. 4 have come from the Spirit. Only 1 have come from Portland. Offensive clash early. Julia Rotter. A bit more space this time around, but look at all the jerseys in black that are back in the middle. Klingenberg doing very well defensively. Spirits still haven't been able to penetrate. And now they eventually get a corner kick out of it. Well, it took a lot of working around, but they get their 3rd corner. Trinity Rodman. This will be the final game for Rodman as a teenager, as she turns 20 this weekend. Here comes the corner from Staub. Sonnet again racing in there. A lot of aerial balls being played here. Sliding through a couple players. Ashley Hatch is making the sprint. And this is really good pressure from Washington, and it certainly feels like the more dangerous to the sides right now is the Spirit. They're doing a terrific job of controlling and playing on the front foot early. 25th minute, scoreless so far. Washington perhaps threatening here in half number 1. Towards the middle of the field, headed along, flag up, offside. Sophia Smith maybe a little too anxious there. About a month ago, Smith scored a hat trick for the U.S. women's national team in a 9-1 win over Uzbekistan. As I mentioned, when she scores, typically good things happen for Portland. 10-1-0 since the start of 2021. when Sophia Smith scores. So you can always keep an eye on her at the top of this Portland attack. But the Thorns have been limited to just one shot so far in this one. The only thing that has really been written down has been Helferty's attempt in the 14th minute for Washington. High arcing ball along the sideline. Rodman giving chase, chips it into the box, towards the post, and it had to be done right by Sauerbrunn. And as she always does, she gets it away. Looked like perhaps an opportunity in a moment for the Spirit, but Becky Sauerbrunn wins the battle to the ball in the back post. Flawless effort. Take another look at this, and it all starts with a long ball from Bigelski, but Rodman wins it into the box, and with Hatch making the run, if Sauerbrunn doesn't get a piece, the Spirit have the lead. Instead, Sauerbrunn does what she has done so often, a two-time NWSL champion, a 7-time member of the NWSL's best 11. Rodman taking a shot. Is there a deflection? There's not, and it goes out for a goal kick. If you are the Spirit, you have to absolutely love what you were doing right now in this contest. And when we spoke with Rhian Wilkinson, she mentioned she doesn't think that she has just 11 starters. She thinks that she has at least 15. And she thinks that she has a lot of different options. And with Sauerbrunn back out there, she thought about perhaps putting her on the pitch against OL Reign, but you don't want to make that change in her eyes in a game like that. Waited for tonight to make that opportunity. And she thinks that she has 4 different starting center backs. With the way that their lineup sets up, they don't have enough space for all of them, but it's an embarrassment of riches here in Portland for Rhian Wilkinson. Sugita trying to race after a pass that was slightly behind the original target of Sinclair. 28th minute. Washington playing on the front foot. Portland sitting back and defending. It's been a while since Portland last booked a goal. That was in that 3-0 win over Kansas City. And you can typically expect big crowds here at Providence Park. Nearly 15,000 last Friday. Smith got a piece of it. She can settle it down, but has to retreat. A ricochet goes to Sinclair. Sinclair got it through over to Sugita, but instead intercepted for the time being. Probably given back. Kuika does so well to get past Rodman. Coffee. Klingenberg back out. Just take a look at the shape that Portland had for just a moment there, and they get right back into it with that 3 in the back. Hubley wide, Menges right in the middle, and Sauerbrunn wide left. And that forces these attackers to sprint around, and they're keeping the ball away from the Spirit right now. Smith goes to the ground. Let's see, I think the flag is up for offside. It might have been a foul on the Spirit, but the flag goes up as Smith hits the deck. Rodman can't catch up to it. We've played a half hour here at Providence Park. Washington with a 5-1 shots lead right now, but Portland perhaps looking to make its first big buildup of this one. Cuica going to spin around from the ball. Hubley back to Cuica. Menges tapped forward and given right back to the Spirit, and here comes the break for the Spirit. Sanchez, Hatch taking a shot, and it is high. 31st minute, Hatch with a high shot. That has been really the only things that have happened for the Spirit when they've had some opportunities. Take a look at this giveaway. And then excellent hustle by Amber Brooks through the midfield. And it was a 3-on-1 opportunity, and Hatch was debating. She was sensing that defenders were getting back and was running out of time. It took a punishing stab at it and hit it wide. Michael Watring with you, watching it from Providence Park. Hope you're enjoying this one so far. Still have about an hour left in this clash between these clubs. Portland 6-0-4 all-time at home against Washington. It's the most home wins without a loss in all the NWSL. There's a foul, easily picked out. Sugita gets taken down by Feist, and perhaps incidental, but for Portland, gives the Thorns a terrific chance. Sugita still has not popped to her feet. Now she does, as Coffey will plant the ball. Great opportunity here in the 33rd minute. Coffey strikes it, back post, a lot of white jerseys over there. And eventually Bigelski comes out of there with it before Smith deflects it out. And a throw coming for the Spirit. Some of those attacking opportunities for Portland not coming, at least at this point. But they have put up a boatload of goals in the all-time series. 37-18 advantage against Washington in terms of scoring ability. Sinclair takes it back. Sinclair to the touchline, and perhaps a missed touch time around. Bigelski sends Rodman along, but she wasn't making the run, and it goes out for a goal kick. Well, in the 10 matches here at home, Portland scored 23 times against Washington. So if those numbers hold up, perhaps it might take a big second half for the Thorns. Still work to do here in the opening 45 minutes. Sonnet spinning around and then sending it back towards Aubrey Kingsbury. Bigelski making the run, and she gets the ball. Bigelski plays it back to the middle where Sanchez takes a shot. That is wide. Sanchez was in a good spot at the top of the box. Struck it wide left. 3-0 loss to Angel City at Audi Field. Amber Brooks, 10,000th career regular season minute. Congratulations to her for hitting that milestone. Here in the 36th minute of action. 10,000 minutes for Amber Brooks, the 31-year-old, 11th overall season, first season with Washington. It is a boatload of minutes on the pitch. She joins an elite list of players. Here's a shot attempt that rings the top of the cage. Here in the 37th minute, inches away from getting Portland on the board. Rodriguez has it taken off of her feet by Rodman. Well, now Portland's starting to put the pedal to the metal. That was really their first great chance. That came off of a Washington giveaway. Spirit looking to answer now with Rodman. Rodman will wait. Spikes it through a couple different black jerseys before Menges tames. Smith tried to spin around, but nobody making that overlapping run. Sauerbrunn will get back to it in the 38th minute. 7-2 shots advantage for the Spirit. Best chance came just moments ago on a shot that hit the crossbar from long range by Portland. That was Sinclair that hit the woodwork. Spirit once again building as this ball goes into the box and over Rodman's head towards the corner flag. Coffee all the way over to Klingenberg. Sugita. Klingenberg into the air. Portland providing a little more pressure this time around. Washington handling it all the way back towards Kingsbury, who lofts it forward. 5 more minutes before we get to stoppage time. Do one of these teams have a first half strike? We go to the locker room, deadlocked at 0. Sugita does well to hold it up against 3 defenders. Wika makes the run. Past Bigelski for a moment before Bigelski sends it out, and they're going to call the foul as Bigelski gets taken to the ground. The 23-year-old does an excellent job recovering after the initial move and then gets it out. Wika Probably didn't need to make that contact. Instead, commits the foul. Here's another look at this. A failed clearance that goes right to Sinclair. She nearly chipped it over Kingsbury's head, and it hits the top of the crossbar. Look at this one. Inches away from getting the scoring open off of a Kingsbury giveaway. 41st minute now. We're still scoreless. Smith splitting the defense. Smith slides. She goes to the ground, and Sonnet doing very well defensively, and I think Smith just whiffed on it. No foul. And from this vantage point, looked like the right call. Quickly on the counterattack, Rodman, Trinity Rodman, sweeps it through. And Hatch on the backside with Feist in the middle. And Feist couldn't get enough on it as you take another look at this last sequence here. Look at the speed of Smith, splitting the two backs. And yeah, she just whiffed on it with the right foot. This is the angle that you'll see it here. Just couldn't quite get the right shoe to the ball. And at the other end, Rodman, Feist was the target. And just like Smith at the other end, couldn't quite make solid contact. Kingsbury comes out with Smith providing pressure. Well, it has been pretty good end-to-end soccer. There hasn't been a whole lot of fooling around in the midfield. It's been a lot of this. Get the ball, swing it down to one end of the pitch, force the back lines to defend. Hatch gives it back out. Now a sweeping ball into the box. Sanchez, the initial target. Now Feist takes an aim at one. Quickly the other way comes Portland. 43rd minute. Rodman leaps over the ball. It's touched by the Thorns. Gelski looking for Sanchez. Sanchez comes up with it. Ashley Sanchez to the middle. It's poked into the air, headed off the line by Menges. Still not out of trouble yet. Feist. Sanchez. Sanchez for Rodman. Rodman with pace. Left-footed ball low. This time Bixby gets a piece. It's cleared, but only as far as Sanchez before it's taken off of her feet by Sinclair. Rodman tracks back after it. Menges came up with one of the big saves. Here in the 44th minute, still scoreless between these sides. And Emily Menges, phenomenal effort. The product of Georgetown. She does so many good things in the middle of that back three. Bixby looking to keep it in play. Bounces off of a couple bodies. It's last touched by the Spirit. Take another look at this sequence. Sanchez originally beat Menges. And then you take a look at this ball in the box. It's popped into the air, and there's Menges right on the line. Hatch had the piece of it to push it near the line. From what we're hearing, no stoppage time at this moment, so we're into the waning moments. Sugita. Now it comes all the way back for Menges. Sauerbrunn, Klingenberg. Rocky Rodriguez. And there will be your first half whistle. Well, Washington played on the front foot for much of the time. Each side had a moment where you thought maybe we'd get our first goal. Sinclair hit the woodwork in the 37th minute, and a ball that Menges rescues from the line in the 44th. 9 shots to 2 advantage for the Spirit, but only 1 total shot on target between these clubs. We're at halftime at Providence Park. Portland, Washington, deadlocked at 0. Stick with us. 45 more minutes to go here on the NWSL on Twitch.